Hello there, my name is Richard. The first time you see my channel, I used to review cartoon series, anime series, also been computer random, and today we talk about a cartoon conspiracy theory of how if the orphan ghost died. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, in the Villainous show episode 2, there are a bunch of orphan kids who actually call Black Hat for their services to get rid of the hero problem. But the interesting part in the backstory, or basically on Creepy Charlie's blog, she dropped a bunch of photos and it hints how each kid died. Of course, they don't have specific written words. You have to sort of interpret it. Because of that, a lot of fan bases interpret a little bit different ways how each kid actually died, but in very interesting, creative ways. Now let's get started. Let's start with Amelia, because I think she's probably the most recognizable of all the orphan ghosts, that she is sort of iconic her own design. Especially everybody points out she is the kind of walking talking reference of The Ring, or at least inspired by Froggy, also by My Hero Academia. I feel Andy got inspired by both ideas and mix them together and make her this design, and that is sort of interesting to see this. But a little bit more is how Amelia died. In fact, you see the photo of her that she's just sitting down around a bunch of shoes. Also comparing on the second photo with the minute she actually is dead, you can see what is missing, that her legs. The question is how she loses her legs, that people sort of determine maybe by train, because how the photo of the original when she was alive, and there was a train right next to her legs. Maybe she got too close to the train station that she sort of fall off and cut her legs off. That could be one interpretation. The second interpretation is basically maybe she got caught stealing shoes because she was sort of a kleptomaniac, because she really loved shoes, but because she crossed someone over that wasn't very a good person, decided to punish her that actually cutting her legs off. That could be a possibility also in how you read the photo. Or even worse, maybe her family was the shoemakers and they couldn't pay up some debt of some sort of gangster, so decided to punish her daughter to teach a lesson of the parents. Once more, that's sort of an interpretation of this photo. In fact, let me ask this question for you. What is your interpretation of the meaning how she died? Type them down below, let me know. Now, our next orphan children will be Larry. Now, Larry in the photo you see before and after, I'd like to determine maybe Larry died by doing magic. That's basically what everybody interpreted by the photo, because it's a boy who likes to read, specifically dark magic. Maybe he used the magic to sort of do something he didn't understand, like using puppets. Maybe he wanted to trample his soul in the puppets to see what he actually can do. The only problem is he was basically a rookie, not understanding the magic sort of consequences. Maybe his soul got stuck in a puppet and not knowing he left his body, and people saw his body in the ground, determining Larry was dead and buried. That's why he sort of became a ghost. Maybe they determined why he cannot pass over, because it was sort of his mistake. That's be one interpretation of Larry's death. Now, a second interpretation, maybe Larry summoned a demon thinking he can actually control it. Instead, the demon killed them. This is the reason why he decided to stick with puppets now and then, but a little bit too late. That's another interpretation of this photo. Or maybe a third interpretation, that he probably was convinced to use magic of one of the puppets. The reason why I interpret that, maybe because one of the puppets looked like Saul, some puppets look like kind of Annabelle. Maybe the theme is especially the puppet was alive and trying to convince Larry to use magic to take their place. That could be another interpretation, and Larry sort of fall for that trap and now he's stuck as a ghost. That could be, once more, a different way to determine this photo. Of course, what is your interpretation of Larry on this photo? How do you think how Larry died? Tell me down below, let me know. Now, let's talk about the next character. The girl with the sunflower hat. Now, this girl, or maybe the other character before now, they really don't have names. For now, just let's call her farm girl because her photo she lives the farm and being happy till you see the tractor. In fact, you see the other photo before she was alive. Now she's dead. Her face was sort of impaled. So I'm guessing maybe was she too close with the tractor, basically run her over, or the fact maybe the tractor was sort of broken in one of the parts just pop out and ran her face over. That could be another possibility. Of course, in the Villainous fan base believes maybe was sort of choked to death with some chemicals in the tractor, killing her off. Maybe this is why you have this sort of black goo on the photos. That could be another possibility with this character passing away. For right now, what is your opinion how the farm girl actually dies? Now the next character,
Sleeping Beauty. The reason why I dubbed her this character because she always sleeping, especially on her own photo that she was sleeping next to her teddy bears. Till you see to the next photo that how she died was especially potty stabbed in her eyes, including her teddy bears. At least that what I determined in the photo. Of course, the fan base of Villainous kind of points out maybe she died in her dreams by Freddy Krueger, or at least equivalent something similar as Freddy, like the red eye. If you don't know what I mean, that red eye is sort of demon or creature who like to hunt little kids in their dream and actually kill them. A reason this creature exists is because of Creepy Charlie. If you want to know why Creepy Charlie, how she is and how she dressed up, I recommend watch that video to understand who is the Red Eye and why Red Eye is so dangerous. That could be at least my theory of the Sleeping Beauty, how she died, or maybe we don't know. Maybe she died by natural causes. That could be another possibility. Or maybe just a serial killer saw her sleeping and being murdered. Now, what is your interpretation of Sleeping Beauty? How she died? What's your opinion? Comment down below. Let me know. Now, our next victim is Little Red Riding Hood. The reason why I dubbed her is super obvious because she has a red hood. Now, how she died, especially of two photos, you do notice someone behind the scenes. Someone like Black Cat because he have the same kind of body type in the same way that every other photo, every time they capture a photo of Black Cat, so it looks like. But once more, we don't know how she died or for what reason. The only conclusion everybody has is about Black Cat. But Black Cat wanted her or needed her for one of his projects. But once more, we really don't know. In fact, the photos doesn't really help determining what her portrait really is. Or maybe it's just a reference and we just overreading it because she is Little Red Riding Hood. Maybe it's sort of an interpretation of the big bad wolf being Black Hat. That could be basically it. But once more, what is your interpretation of Little Red Riding Hood? How you think she died? Tell me down below. Let me know. Our next character will be Fish Boy. Now we don't know his name, but once again, just stop Fish Boy. In the photo, he's a young lad, happy fishing, all cheerful. Then you see something behind the background, a shark. Now you see the second image of him becoming a fish boy. Now you couldn't determine this sort of the werewolf syndrome that someone another animal will bite you, you become the animal you become. In this case, fish boy got bitten, be turned by fish, and automatically died, becoming a ghost. I mean, that's sort of like a triple kill. That's sort of sad and completely morbid because this kid had it hard. I mean, he just didn't die once, he died 3 times, and that's sort of depressing. Of course, maybe we're reading too obvious. Maybe he became the fish and ran to his own parents, got freaked out, didn't notice that was their kid, might maybe force him to kill it because they didn't recognize him. That could be one possibility. Or maybe the whole village killed this kid because once more he's unrecognizable. That could be another possibility. Once again, what is your theory? what you read on these two photos, because this is part of the shut and open case it really is, because the image is just so well made. You understand what's going on. Now let's go to the next character. Ghost Boy or Ghost Fire Boy, or the ripoff of Casper, or a number never ghost, because nobody really knows what to call this character, how sort of basic he is. Even the two images, finding where he's alive and dead, sort of give you a lot of questions, because it's sort of hard to interpret it. Because he was doing in the photo just sort of playing with his toys. But at the same time, you could sort of determine maybe he died by fire because of the fire train he's playing around. In the next image, just he was basically gulped with fire. So I'm guessing the incident how he died with fire probably was on purpose, because he was playing with matches. He probably wanted to play a real fireman. Maybe he started fire in his own home and he just couldn't not stop the fire. That could be a possibility. Or even he is sort of a person who's obsessed with fire, like a pyromaniac, that he wanted to see fire but he couldn't stop it anymore. That could be another possibility how you read these two photos. Or maybe it's just sort of an accidental fire, he just couldn't escape. Now, the same thing as last time. What is your interpretation of these two images? Now, our next character will be Sad Boy. Now, Sad Boy is sort of a open a closed case also, because in the original photo he was basically dressing up for Halloween as sort of a ghost. I assume how I'm reading this image, but in the next photo he was sort of shown he was ripped off multiple different places by one character, and that one character was Black Cat, because you see this sort of shadowy figure who looks like Black Hat. So yeah, a lot of people sort of determined was Black Cat actually eliminate this little boy on Halloween. Of course, maybe it will be a normal serial killer. That could be also a possibility. But it's one of those things that you really can't argue about the fan base, how cut and close this case really is. And you feel sad. In fact, maybe Black Hat caught him by surprise but this boy, and he just sort of teach him a lesson, never knock other people's doors. That's another reason how to read this. I don't know about you. What is your opinion about these two photos? Our next character will be Snake Girl. Now, Snake Girl is probably a little bit interesting the rest of the characters, because she never actually showed up in the episode. I think she's her and maybe I think a Little Red Riding Hood. I just don't remember. But Snake Girl is probably never showed up on the second episode or the whole series, only in photos. So that made it a little bit more interesting. Of course, made it more interesting how she actually died. That how you see both photos of her when she alive and dead, that people determine maybe she died by her snake. Or maybe she was sort of a very unusual little girl, something like Wednesday of Adam's Family, because she does get that sort of vibes. Maybe Mick says she was into the macabre. Maybe she was so into this snake, and this snake bitter, or she just died and her image become a snake. We really don't know. It's something that's sort of very minimal, that you sort of not sure how she died, but at the same time we all agree in the fan base she died by snake. What do you think watching these two images? Tell me down below, let me know. Now, our next character will be Circus Boy. Once again, we don't know his name, but we do know in the two images that he used to work in the circus or live in the circus. But how he died, the images show that was sort of maybe eaten by something else. A lot of people point out a photo of Fish Boy showing Circus Boy with the evil clown. And that clown is sort of a reference of a character of the Amazing World on Gumball. People determine maybe this evil clown who became a murderer and ran away and lived in Gumball's world. That could be once more a possibility. Or maybe a tiger at 8 hand, because once more, this is the circus. or even a supernatural clown like the It could be a reference of a Stephen King book or the new version of the movie of It. That could be the thing who actually destroyed Circus Boy. What now? Once again, what is your opinion of these two images? Now, our final character to end this segment is the girl who crying in the rain. That, in my opinion, is probably the best portrait of all the little kids of this series because this one did had a lot of work. You can see the shading, the texture, the wittiness, side corners. They actually had a lot of time and thought of this image. But the only problem is the image doesn't really tell you much how she dies. The fact that both image them was she alive or dead, the only thing determined that she was pretty close to the board beach, maybe with the swings, maybe with the close to a bridge who actually killed her by water. That could be the theory of these two images about the crying girl in the water, especially her goo spilling out of her eyes and mouth. A lot of people determine that because of that. Because when someone drowns, they do spit out some sort of goo out of them. Or maybe she was possessed during the rain. That's why she sort of had goo. Maybe it's not goo, maybe it's plasm because of her possession, and the possession went sort of wrong. That's how she died. Once more, that's a different way to interpret these two images. Other than that, what is your opinion how the crying girl in the photo looks to you? Now I really got nothing else to say, just one question. Tell me all your theories about each image. I got nothing else to say, just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.